Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. I'm here with Eli, of course, and today is October 26th, and it's my daughter Danielle's birthday today. So happy
Happy
birthday, honey.
birthday.
Yeah. Eli, we got a lot of stuff. You had a busy week too. We're gonna show some picture of your busy week, and of course, we always start our show off with our monologue, which Eli has the honors this week, which is sponsored, of course, by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. So take it away, partner.
All right, thank you, Jim. And yeah, and there's no better way to start off with this monologue than to talk about the newest WNBA championship and the newest champions, the New York Liberty. And why am I giving this so much hype? Well, number one, it's the first basketball championship in New York since the Knicks in 73. That is pretty historic, number one, right there. First basketball championship since 73 in the Knicks. Second of all, since if you don't count the New York Football Soccer Club's win in 2021, the last major championship from a four major sport was the Giants back in 2012. So this is pretty significant for the New York area. And not just to mention, this is one of the most exciting sports times that you could ever imagine as a New York fan because well, obviously football's horrible, but the Liberty just became a champions. The Yankees are battling out in a crazy World Series game, which we'll talk more about the Yankees a little bit later on in our show.
We
But
will.
this is such a great time for New York, and what a proud moment it was to see it happen. There was a ticker tape parade this week at City Hall in honor of them, and the star of the game was clearly Sabrina Ionescu with making foul shots. You could feel the pressure, and if you were watching the game, it was more exciting than watching a regular NBA game. There was the moment the ball lifted up in the air in the start of the game to the end. You just did not even want to change the channel to the Jets game, to the Yankees game, to the Mets game. There was no need to, just because of how exciting it was. It was literally back and forth. It was more exciting WM as the NBA, as I said. They were down at halftime, the Liberty. Come back, force overtime, missed a couple foul shots. It was so crazy. You had to be up on your feet, even on your house, just because that's the type of game it was. And it was
Yep.
pretty historic to see. And in overtime, the Liberty are your champions. And as soon after the game ended, New York plays. And what a significant moment it was. I mean, you could talk about other songs and other moments in sports. When you hear the song New York start playing by Frank Sinatra, you know you're a champion. You feel the chills. You feel like it's a special moment. And even watching the ESPN broadcast, you hear parts of New York play in the background. You could just feel the emotion, even the chills at home, even though you're not part of that moment. And that just goes to show you what this means. And congratulations to the New York Liberty on winning a WNBA championship and bringing home a basketball championship to the tri-state area.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's actually even more important because of the way that the WNBA has really taken over and becoming
Correct.
more and more popular. And you could certainly thank Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese and
Absolutely.
all these other guys. So yeah, it was actually a good year for them to win their first championship. I think they were one of the
The
original
original
franchise.
teams.
Yeah,
28
so
years in the making, and they finally get one. And
yeah,
speaking of Angel Reese, she just did sign a multi-year contract agreement to stay with Chicago Sky. So that just happened. So good for her on getting a new contract extension. That
yeah,
was also this week as well.
and she also got a shoe deal. So she's these guys are making a ton of money too. It's
Absolutely. But
crazy.
listen, you know what? Good for them. At least it doesn't have to always be the men that gets all the glory and fame. At least now the women are getting back into it. I got to
Yeah.
give 100% respect on that regard.
Yeah, good monologue. Actually, it was a pivotal moment for the WNBA and in
And not just
particular
that,
for New York.
New York especially.
Yeah, good job, Eli. Good job.
All
All right,
right,
so let's move on. Let's jump right into Major League Baseball because there was quite a baseball game last night, and
it was
didn't go the way Yankee fans wanted it. But
no.
when you look at the players and Freddie Freeman, he's always been a clutch player, and he's been battling a sprained ankle, and he actually got a triple in the first inning, and then he wins the game with a walk off grand slam, first time a walk off grand slam in World Series history. So it's very exciting, but it's a horse race. It's a 7 game series. I still think the Yankees could win this in 7 games. I think Aaron Judge will start to warm up, and he's going to have some big moments in this game. And you can't take anything away from Giancarlo Stanton, who his last 5 hits in the postseason have all been home runs.
Absolutely.
But the question is, can the Yankees? I mean, Garrett Cole pitched a great game last night. I mean,
100%.
and some things just it looked as though the Yankees they took the lead, and Freddie Freeman. It really was a magical moment for the Dodger fans, no doubt.
It really was a magical moment for the Dodgers. I mean, Freeman, and it wasn't a home run, it wasn't a base hit, a grand slam. That's
Yeah,
how the game ends. Pretty insane. I mean, you had a fan interference call. That was another, thing that the Yankees fans are going to be upset about today as well. They're going to have game 2 tonight over on Fox. But what a game it was! Really, it was exciting to watch. It was thrilling, and I'm going to take the Yankees in 6. And I said that previously. I'm going to still take the Yankees in 6. I feel like they're going to still win it. I mean, it's going to be a tough challenge. And I did ask a couple of Yankee fans, we're Googling around and, chatting with them today. I said, well, are you upset that you're not playing the Mets? Because it now looks like the Dodgers are going to be tough. Freeman hits a grand slam. It looks like they've got the weapons, powerful hitters and everything. And you got Judge, who hasn't done much. You've got other guys on the team, haven't done much when you have a fully loaded, playoff ready, playoff World Series bound team that's going to try to win it versus the Yankees who are struggling. So the question is, are they upset that they're not really playing the Mets now going into it? What do you think about that?
Well, you're talking to a Yankee fan, so it's a fair question, and I can answer that without hesitation. I didn't want any part of the Mets. The Mets were on such a roll, and the rivalry between the Yankees and the Mets. I felt we matched up better against the Dodgers, believe it or not, even with that all-star lineup. But the Mets were on a roll with this magical moment and guys coming out of nowhere and winning games for them, and they gave it their all. But no, I didn't want any part of the Mets because it would have been devastating if we did play the Mets and
they
lost.
lost. That's true too. I know I hear a lot of people say that as well. But I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like it would have been an easier road if they played the Mets because although they were on the streak, it had to come to an end eventually. I mean, they did slack off like towards the middle games, and that would have been the Yankees' time to shine. And I felt they would be more motivated to actually step up and actually want to win these games, hit more home runs, hit more of this, less travel. You're not going from the West Coast to the East Coast. You're just staying. You're literally crossing a bridge to get over to the Citi Field. Really, I mean, that's my point of why I'm saying, the Mets would have probably been the better opponent for the Yankees because the Dodgers are a powerful team now. They've got hitters, they got everybody. And I feel like it's going to be a dangerous series now. And now they're up one game. It's going to be tough the rest of the way.
Yeah, and you know what, Eli? I mean, from a historical perspective, it's the first time the Yankees and Dodgers have met in the World Series in 43 years, and
Which is a great series,
right? But you have all this star power. I think it was great that the Dodgers made it because this way it gives us an opportunity to watch Showtime perform, and the magic that Freeman delivered last night, and you still got Mookie Betts, and they got quite a lineup. But like I said, the Yankees are hot. Stanton is hot. Verdugo made an outstanding play. I mean,
absolutely.
Hasn't given us much all year, but World Series, and we're going to talk about one of our notable passings was actually a star in the last time that they did play in 1981.
We'll talk
And
about that later. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do have a recommendation when we get to our movie recommendations. It doesn't always have to be a movie. We've done books, we've done specials.
Yeah, we done all.
Yeah, so it all ties in. I think it's the matchup everybody wanted to see, and it gives everybody an opportunity to see Shohei Ohtani. He's been in the league for like 6 years now, and played on a terrible team, and they have a great opportunity here.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah. So game 2 tonight, as you said, what is it on Fox tonight?
It's going to be on Fox. Yep. So that'll be pretty interesting to see, nonetheless.
All right. What's game time? 8:00?
I believe 8:08 tonight. That's right.
Okay. So we're going to actually be tuning in, of course, and let's move on. Let's move on to college football because we
Absolutely.
talked
We
we
got a
talked
lot of
last.
great games today.
Yeah, but we talked a lot about the big matchup. It was Georgia, Texas, right? Texas was number one, and like I said, don't discount um, Kirby Smart, and they came out and they actually dominated Texas. So there's no clear cut leader, number one team right now, but you have to keep Georgia. And when we look at college football, Eli, couple of things I noticed. It's an unusual season in that some of the premier powerhouses for my entire life was Oklahoma, Nebraska, Auburn. Uh, where are these teams? These aren't the teams that they were back in the day. So it's actually great parity in college football
Not
right
just
now.
that.
And
What about the teams that are ranked? What about them? Like the
yeah,
Alabamas,
look,
the Michigans. They're ranked and they're doing horrible.
yeah.
How does
I
that make
mean,
sense?
Alabama,
I mean, really?
Alabama. Yeah, they've already lost two games, which is kind of rare in itself. And you have other teams like you got now this kid Gianti from Boise State is right up there in the Heisman Trophy discussions with Cam Ward from Miami. You have Army, you have Navy in the top 25. So all good stuff for college football, and
No question.
I'm yeah, I'm really excited about it. And let's couple of games today. I think
Yes.
let's first jump off and get to the. I'm going to say the biggest surprise so far in the college football season is Indiana, and
Absolutely.
they came
That's what
out
game
and
day
they
is
just
today.
yeah, they came out and impressed me. I wasn't sure they could line up, but again, this isn't the same Nebraska team we're used to. Um,
Absolutely.
they're they're for real. This Craig Signetti has done a great job, and I know when he left, he took a lot of players. And again, why it's so much parity is because of this portal and the nil and all that kind of thing. Guys can move from one team to another, and they got a lot of James Madison players now
Absolutely.
on Indiana, and they had a big win last week, and so they got a big week. Is College Game Day in
Yes.
Bloomington
Game day
today?
is in Indiana. Yes.
Yeah. So how about that? I mean, they are
Yeah.
for real, and but they got a
That's
big
at
test today again against Washington.
Washington. That's a great
Yeah,
game. That's
yeah,
over at
that's
the
a
Big Ten Network at 12 o'clock.
yep. It's a noon game.
Big Ten Network.
Right. A couple other big games, and
Navy
right
Notre
now
Dame
Notre Dame Navy in Giant Stadium,
at MetLife. Absolutely. 12 o'clock.
MetLife.
ABC.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
game that's going to
yeah.
be.
So I if there wasn't a big high school football game, which we'll get to in a little bit,
A
as you
little bit.
guys can see it, I have my St. Joe
St.
shirt
Joe's
on.
on.
We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that's a big game today, and there was a big game last night because we saw Rutgers got off to like a 4-0 start, and we've talked about it time and time again. They're in the Big Ten now, and they got to play these big time schools, and they're not winning the big time games. And they had a big game last night against USC, who's not
Right.
the right, not the USC with Caleb Williams and so forth. And USC kind of took it to them 42-20, I think was the final last
Yep.
night. Um, so yeah, I love the parity we're seeing in college football right now. And
Absolutely.
when you get teams like Boise State in the top 25, it's very unusual. And certain teams, like I said, the Oklahomas, Nebraskas, and Auburn's, they're not in the top 25. So
Nope.
that just adds to the excitement. And this is going to be the first year we're going to the 12-team playoff, right?
Which is going to be better, I think, because then it's fair to more teams, gives them more the advantage, gives everybody opportunity. I do like that a lot.
Good. Yes, college
Other games
football.
to watch out for. I got four more to look at. Nebraska, Ohio State, 12 o'clock on Fox. That could be a good game to watch out for. Illinois, Oregon, 3:30 CBS. Another good game to watch out for. FSU versus Miami, 7 o'clock ESPN. Good game to watch there. And LSU, Texas A&M, 7:30 ABC. All fantastic games to watch out for. But Navy, Notre Dame, it's at MetLife Stadium. I think that's the best one of the day.
Yeah, you couldn't get a more perfect day for football in New Jersey than that.
I know. That's awesome right there.
I bet that's all sold out too. I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is. That's a
anytime,
marquee game.
Anytime Notre Dame plays in New Jersey, it's sold out. So
Absolutely.
Great lineup today in college football, and it's exciting. And when you see teams, like I said, Alabama, not the team we're accustomed to seeing, it just opens up a whole new avenue for these other teams.
A new landscape.
And you keep bringing up, you brought up Oregon and the season that Dylan Gabriel's having for them. They picked right up where they left off. Like they were right up there in the top 5 last year with Bo Nix. Now they have a new quarterback who's bounced around to a couple of schools. I think he was at UCF and then Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe.
I don't know. But anyway, so college football is hot to trot right now. Big time.
Absolutely. And by the way, we're in orange today, not representing game day colors. We're in orange for Halloween. That's why there's like pumpkins on the back on the guy thing and everything. So that's why, if you're interested in wondering why we're in orange, we're not sponsored yet.
I noticed, actually. I did notice. I go, wow, the orange has got to be for Halloween. And
it is. It's a Halloween Eve show.
Yeah. And I don't dress up anymore in costume, but I
I don't either.
But this year I'm going as a sports podcaster for the Sports with Mono and Mono show.
I think I might be doing the same, Jim.
Excellent. Okay, Eli. So let's move on to the NFL.
High school football.
Oh, high school? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll do high school first. Yep.
Biggest game of the year so far, and not just because I'm a St. Joe's alum. But Bergen Catholic St. Joe's, 1 o'clock
That's
today.
An epic game.
Montvale, New Jersey. It should be a packed house for sure. And like I told you, Eli, Bergen Catholic is the number 1 team for a reason. The only loss this year was to IMG in week 1, which we know is kind of a football factory. They're always a top 5 nationally ranked team. So Bergen Catholic is going to be a tough team to beat today. But as we see in high school football, you brought up before a Del Barton DePaul game last night, triple overtime, exciting as could be.
That is, I think, by far the game of the year so far that we see with Del Barton and DePaul. That was exciting, and I actually hosted an all in high school sports, the YouTube channel that recapped all of the NJIC games and also the all in picks that we do. So check that out if you have time later on, and we'll recap last night all of the high school games that happened yesterday, and we previewed a little bit for today. So check that out if you got time today.
And what's happening is we're getting close to the end of the season,
which means it's state playoff time.
Right. So St. Joe's has to play DePaul next week.
That's gonna be tough, especially if they're coming off of a loss. They're going to be hungry. They're going to want to win for sure.
Yeah. So you can't get much better in high school football in New Jersey, certainly. And
look at that. We got a comment from Eric. Yeah. Eric says, "Go St. Joe's. Good morning to all." All right, thank you, Eric, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Go St. Joe's, I guess. Yeah, I also picked St. Joe's to win today. So let's see if they can defeat Bergen Catholic, who's going to be tough today.
Wow, excellent. I'll take that. But they got a big challenge ahead of them. They are indeed the number 1 team in this state, and they got a lot of Division I players that'll move on to the next level. So looking forward to it. Like I said, it's a beautiful day in New Jersey for that game. And at least we have the home field.
We got a lot of good football today.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely.
Right. But
let's go to the NFL.
Let's move on to the NFL.
Last week was pretty crazy.
It was.
I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, we'll go game by game. Patriots, Jaguars. Well, that was enough said there. I mean, the Patriots should have won that game. Instead, they lose to 32-16 to the Jaguars. You talk about the Jaguars team that's been really struggling, and you think that the Patriots would come out, get a win, and no, did not happen at all.
Yeah, you know what? When you look at the Patriots, I kind of wish that they went with Drake May from the outset. He is the quarterback of the future for that team, but the hole they've dug for themselves is too deep to get out of it for this year. Um, Very similar to the Giants, who we're
Well,
struggling, and
that's my next point. When does Locke start? How is this acceptable that you put up 3 points only, 3 points, and allow 28 on the Philadelphia side? Is that even possible? Yes, it is. How? I mean, they need to start Drew Lock. I mean, clearly Daniel Jones is not working if he cannot throw a single touchdown. And one thing is the play call. I understand that part. But when does it end? Week
well,
7, another loss for New York.
I know, but I don't know that Drew Lock is the answer. He didn't look very good when he came in
But
as
it's Daniel
substitute.
Jones putting up 3 points only the
Yeah,
answer as well.
I see your point. It was on my monologue, what, 4 weeks ago, that I said it's time has run out. I mean, you have to start producing. There's no more excuses. This is sixth year in the league, and yeah. So, what does this mean for the Dable and the Joe Shane's, Joe Shane? But actually, John Mara came out and gave them
Yeah.
the dreaded vote of confidence that both of those guys will be back next year. That remains to be seen. That'll dictate by the circumstances, by how they finish. But yeah, there's probably a time. I like Dable as a coach, um,
But
but
this is
they're
unacceptable.
just not winning the games. They're not winning the games.
Like I
And
said,
on the
unacceptable.
other New York team,
The Jets,
the other New York team, Aaron
I don't
Rodgers.
it's his team. Bottom line. That is going to be if they lose to the Patriots tomorrow, that if they do, third straight loss without Robert Saleh as head coach, fourth straight with Aaron Rodgers as QB, and they fire the wrong guy. Is this acceptable as well? No. Bottom line
No.
is it's Aaron Rodgers that's the problem. The Jets won't see it, they won't admit it, and that's the bottom line as well. They need to bench him.
Well, listen, we there's no secret in New York that he got Saleh fired. There's no secret that he basically can tell Woody Johnson, the owner, what to do. He went out. We knew. I predicted this 6 weeks ago that Devontae Adams was going to be a New York Jet, and now he is. And yeah, I don't think we're going to get to our picks in a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers has to shoulder a lot of this responsibility, as well as the Jets defense, who everybody said on paper this was one of the best defenses in the league, and they're getting run over. And not only are the Jets not scoring points, they're giving up points. So this is a big game. I don't suspect they'll have any problem with New England this week.
Yep.
But down the road,
It's
they
just
got a big
disappointing.
hole. Well, they got a hole to dig out. They're 2-5, and that's in particular the AFC, which is wide open because they got a lot of
Yep.
good teams.
Well, you look at the divisions in the AFC, you got to say to yourself, there's only one clear winner. You go to the AFC West, and the clear winner is the Chiefs. Bottom line, they won that division. And they're so perfect. They're 7 games perfect. They're entering to this week. They're going to be playing the Raiders. And what shocks me the most about this Chiefs team is the amount of injuries that they have, and yet they're still perfect. Blows me away. It really
Well,
does.
I got 2 words to explain that.
Patrick
Patrick
Mahomes
Mahomes.
and
Period.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I know that's serious.
That's my other
I
thing.
don't know.
But if
We
you
could
look at
ever go a week without Eli mentioning
well,
Taylor Swift.
if you look at the South, it's a Texans and Colts battle. Bottom line, when you look at the North side, you could maybe say the Steelers are going to be the front runners because you have the Browns, you have the Bengals. They're struggling. They're not, producing. You have the Ravens, but the Ravens aren't also, not. They're losing some games as well. It's like
Yeah, but when you look at the Ravens on paper and the year, because I honestly I thought Derrick Henry was close to the end of his career, which he clearly is not, and that's a big addition for that team. And the combination of him and Lamar Jackson, but can they get past Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Because they're going to meet in the
That's the
playoffs.
question. That's going to be the bottom line. And then
But
you look
right
at
now on paper, they look like the team to beat. I mean, they got it all clicking.
and you look at the East right now, plain and simple. You don't have the Jets. You can disqualify them. You can disqualify the Patriots. Now you're left with the Buffalo Bills and the Dolphins, which right now they're both struggling. I mean, Dolphins, they just got Tua back, which is going to help. But Buffalo, yeah, they won games, but they've been struggling as well. They play a tough Seattle team tomorrow, who's, again, a wishy-washy team. I use that word because one day they win, one day they lose. One day they win, and one day they lose. It depends on the mood they wake up in the morning, really.
I don't know.
But yeah.
I have a lot of confidence in Josh Allen and the Bills that they're going to win the division. Obviously, because of the season that Miami is having. I thought Miami, if Tua was healthy, if you recall, I did pick them to win the AFC East. But I knew the Jets weren't going to be the team. But I also thought that it was going to be between the Bills and the Bills are hanging in there. I mean, they got a lot of injuries. And one of the bigger trades that we saw this week, Eli, was DeAndre Hopkins goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's another weapon for Patrick Mahomes, and they just keep on winning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's talk about the picks from last week, and then we'll make our picks this week. So you got to put it up. Put it up, my friend.
Here we go. Let me put it up, and then we'll get to the comment. Here it is, 11-17, 19-9, and the crown still stays with Jim.
Wow, that crown is getting heavy and heavier for me. But I mean,
it. The games we're picking, though. I got to get back up there. Don't worry. I will. My time will come.
I know.
We do have a comment from Tom. Happy Halloween from Chiefs Nation. Let me get the picture off. Nation, here's to D-Hop. They did pick up D. Hopkins.
Yeah. So that's Tom. He's a transplant from California, and he's all in on Kansas City. And I know he is excited. Oh, Andrew King James.
James. And Diego says hello. Welcome.
Hello, my friend. Yeah. So like I said, from a Kansas City Chiefs perspective, things are looking really good. And Tom, I appreciate the comment, and yeah. So let's jump right into our picks.
Let me get to some news topics first before we get to our picks. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has been cleared by concussion protocol. He's expected to play this Sunday versus the Cardinals. Seahawks trading linebacker Jerome Baker and a 4th-round pick to the Titans in exchange for Ernest Jones IV. Chiefs get DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans in exchange for draft picks. The Browns will start Jameis Winston following Watson's injury. The Browns do sign Bailey Zappi following his injury as well.
Yeah.
Saints running back Alvin Kamara agreed to a 2-year, $24.5 million deal. Lions wide receiver James Wilson is facing a 2-game suspension for the NFL's performance-enhancing substance policy. Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Goodwin out for the season, and so is Brendan Ayuk with an ACL injury, and so is Dolphins wide receiver Braxton Berrios, all out with ACL injuries, and it's pretty horrible to see.
We're having some technical issues here.
The Week 9 NFL game on NBC is a flex. We will now see Colts versus Vikings in prime time and Jaguars versus Eagles in the afternoon. Jaden Daniels has a rib injury, questionable for tomorrow. And finally, the Jets now get Hassan Reddick in a new contract. Jim, you're still there? It appears like you're having issues, according to the other screen I have. You might want to go back in.
Oh, no, not during our NFL segment are we having tech.
You might want to go back in, Jim. I can't hear.
There we are.
There you are. You got it. All right. You're good. All right.
Can you hear me now, Eli?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, we're back.
Okay, we're sort of back.
But listen,
apologies for the technical issues.
Okay, listen, I wanted to mention because, yeah, that's technology for you. But I also wanted to again give a shout out to Tom Pugh from Kansas City because he's living large. He's got Kansas City rolling. His Indiana Hoosiers are rolling, and Notre Dame is playing in New Jersey. So, Tom, enjoy
Gotta
your
love
day,
it.
my friend.
Absolutely. Let's go to the picks now.
All right, Eli. I'll go through the four games that we picked, and then I'll give you my picks. You give us yours, and see if you can make a comeback from a tough week
Let's
last
see.
week. So the Jets and the Patriots, and again, you know, we just kind of talked about the Patriots. They're a team that's not very good, and yeah, we always ask the question of the Jets if they lose to the Patriots. Well, they're not going to lose to the Patriots this week, so they'll move to 3-5. Second game, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and now you brought that up before. I think Cincinnati is starting to right the ship. They got off to a slow start, and I think Joe Burrow is outstanding. He wants to get that Super Bowl. So I look for Cincinnati to beat Philadelphia because I watched Philadelphia, and yeah, they beat a depleted team, the Giants. So and Saquon Barkley. And by the way, I was going to save this for my random points, but Giant fans, you should be ashamed of yourself because they did nothing but they booed Saquon Barkley. And what did Saquon Barkley do but give everything he had to this franchise? And he had some injuries, yes. He had a terrible offensive line, and people are holding a
Absolutely.
grudge. Holding a
He was
grudge
awesome
against
for the
Saquon
team.
Barkley.
Look what he's doing for Philadelphia.
Right. And that's part of it. And a lot of people can't accept that he's playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, but that's the business side of things. And nobody could fault him for taking that deal. And he's really thriving right now. It's amazing what a great running back can do with a great offensive line. How about that? Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we got two other games to get to: Atlanta, Tampa Bay. And you know what? A lot of people are big believers. I know Derek Krug, one of our loyal listeners, he's all in on Baker Mayfield, but they just lost two of their starting wide receivers to injuries
Yep.
last week with Mike Williams going down, and Chris Godwin is going to be out for an extended period of time, if not the rest of the season. So I look for Atlanta, and I think Kirk Cousins is having a great year. He's got a lot of weapons. This is what we've been expecting from them. But they have to go on the road in Tampa. But I'm looking for Atlanta to pull the upset on that game. And the last game, you brought up the Saints, and they got their running back signed for another 2 years. They're going up against the Chargers. And again, are the Chargers for real? Is Harbaugh this magician that's going to turn them into a dominant force? No, I don't think they still line up with the Chiefs and Ravens and even the Bengals. So I'm going to take them over New Orleans because I don't have any faith in the New Orleans quarterback situation. That's very up in the air. So my four picks: I'm taking the Jets, I'm taking the Bengals, I'm taking the Falcons, and I'm taking the Chargers this week. And now I give you your opportunity at redemption.
I don't know if it's gonna be redemption this year because, well, we're gonna start Jets Patriots 1 o'clock CBS. I mean, I the Jets should win this game, and if they lose this weekend, I'm not picking the Jets anymore because I have nothing else to say about this franchise. If they lose to the Patriots again this weekend, it'll be really an embarrassment. It truly is. So I have to take the Jets. Score will be 12-9. That's my prediction. 12-9. Bengals Eagles 1 o'clock CBS. Simple here. Give me Philadelphia 21-18. Joe Burrow, I think, is going to be, he didn't start off the greatest. And I think to me right now, it seems like this Philadelphia team might just surpass the Cincinnati Bengals, who've been, wishy-washy, as I use the word. One day they're doing good, one day they're doing bad. And right now, I don't think this is their season. This is not their year. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. Buccaneers Falcons 1 o'clock on Fox. I mean, listen, the Buccaneers are battling injury, but I think they're going to beat the Falcons. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers in the victory here.
Okay.
Final score for that one will be 24-21. And the last game, a Chargers Saints Pro 5 on CBS. Listen, the Saints have been really bad, and I don't know if I can pick them again. I mean, considering after they had such a good run and now they're down path from here, doing pretty bad. So I'm going to take the Chargers in the victory here, 22-14. So I'm going to go with Jets, Eagles, Bucks, Chargers for my games this week. Tom comments, living large, baby.
Yeah, I know he certainly is. And he's got his cast off. He's going to be dancing around like Barishnikov in the next couple of weeks. So, all right, Eli. So we differ on two of the games. So this could make you
Here's to the
if you
book
come
of
clean
Eli.
this week. So this could be a comeback week for you. We'll see, and
We'll see.
We'll talk about it.
All right, let's get to some random points.
Random points, of course, and it's sponsored as we always do. And I got a very important thing I wanted to say because it's sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. And without going into details, our sponsor and one of my dear friends was involved in an accident, and this is a person that he always gives, and he gives with a smile. And this time I'm asking for people, he should be getting something. And I want people to give their thoughts and prayers to a speedy recovery to Mike after the accident. And just a wonderful man. And, when you see things like that, it puts things into perspective. Like I said, we talk about sports, but, the human side of things is much more important to us. And Mike, I wish you all the best in the recovery, and we're pulling for you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Eli. So I got a couple of random points. Like I said, I wanted to bring this up that I was just appalled at Giant fans last week to Boo Seiko and Baku. They're burning his jersey in the parking lot. Like,
Yeah.
grow up. Grow up. It's a business, boys. It's a business. Another one, random points, and this is a pet peeve of mine. These guys hold out and they hold out, and the owners, they ultimately buckle, and that's what the Jets just did with Hassan Reddick. He's been holding out, and they waived the fines of $12 million. Just at some point, I wish an owner or a team would just say, you're under contract, you're going to play, or you're not going to get paid. And
I agree.
It just never happens.
Nope.
Interesting thing. We always bring up sports memorabilia, right? And we see the Mickey Mantle card, and then Babe Ruth's bat from the called shot in the World Series. The Shohei Ohtani 50th home run ball broke the record for $4.4 million, which
wow.
Is really, it's kind of unbelievable. But I guess if people have that kind of money, it broke the record for the excuse me, an interesting record, the previous record. And I don't even think they should return it, because this was the Mark McGwire home run ball when he hit 70, I guess, or whatever it was. But I don't take any credence in that. I don't think that's a worthy sports memorabilia thing, but 50-50 for Ohtani in that season was pretty good. And an interesting thing, we talk about the topic of transgender athletes in sports, and the consensus, I believe, across the country is, men should compete against men and women should compete against women. But now we're getting a thing. There's a transgender player on the LPGA tour, and not one person supports that. And its name is Haley Davidson. But keep an eye on this kind of story, because this is, not only has it been prominent on collegiate sports and high school sports, and it's just tearing people apart. But keep an eye on this one, because we're going to hear more and more about this before the time is done.
Absolutely.
All right, Eli, give me your points.
All right, some 4 points here. We're going to start off with this. For those of fans of WWE, Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer, has announced that she'll be leaving the WWE, which was announced this week. The NBA season is officially underway, and news came this week that they will be investigating Joel Embiid's participation for practices and such, which could result in either suspension, fines, or more. Investigation is ongoing, and more details are on the way. As soon as we get it, we'll provide you updates with those stories. Comment from Diego. He says, heard that Otani's previous translator bought the ball to gamble it away.
Okay.
That's funny there.
We gotta give it. Not only is our resident soccer expert, but he's also a stand-up comedian in the George Lopez mold, I guess.
Forgot I'm on
Eli,
mute.
can't hear you, buddy.
Forgot I'm on mute. My bad about that. All righty. Avoid the New York City area tomorrow if possible. There's the Trump rally taking place at Madison Square Garden. Most roads near the garden will be closed. And if you're utilizing New Jersey Transit, there is advisories in effect to Penn Station or taking Amtrak LA to Blar. There's only one entrance on 8th Avenue to enter to the station. So avoid the city if possible tomorrow. And if you do, use the ferries and walk it if possible because it's going to be a mess down there. Finally, Back to the Future on Broadway will close its doors on January 15th. And January 5th. It was one fantastic Broadway show, and unfortunately, it's coming to a close. So if you have time, I recommend 100% watching Back to the Future on Broadway. I recommended it before. It's an absolute fantastic Broadway show, and it's a must-see. It ends January 5th on Broadway. Must-see Back to the Future on Broadway, and that's my random points for the week.
All right, I have one more, but I thought of you yesterday when I saw that was closing because I know that you enjoyed the play.
That was such a good one. I know.
Oh, and the movie was great. The movie was great.
So if you haven't seen, you have to go see it.
Yeah, I got just one additional one I wanted to bring up, and this was the situation with LeBron James and his son playing. Now, obviously he's the commissioner, he's the owner, he's the spokesman but this is an opportunity that was taken away from people that have actually earned the right to play in the NBA. He only went and played one season, a mediocre season at best at USC, but he wanted this to happen. We've seen it in sports. I just don't think he was qualified, and he only played a couple of minutes, and I get that. So, I hope JJ Redick realizes that, he took this job knowing that LeBron James is the coach and this was going to happen. And we knew it during the draft. People said, well, what if somebody else takes LeBron James? And I said, well, no, that's against the law, the NBA law, the LeBron law. So we knew he was going to the Lakers. It just didn't mean as much to me as it did when Ken Griffey Jr. and his father, Ken Griffey, played together for the Seattle Mariners because he was an up-and-coming star. He earned the right to play there. His father was successful World Series champ and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, Gordie Howe, and he played with his sons. Gordie Howe was one of the, second-best all-time player behind, of course, Wayne Gretzky. And he played with his two sons. And, that's a little bit different than LeBron James saying, I want my son to play, even though he hasn't earned the right to play. So that's just a pet peeve of mine. Wanted to bring it up.
All right. And now we move on to the entertainment and photo segment sponsored by Vital Selections. You can scan the QR code now to learn more.
Excellent. So normally we recently, I still can't listen, Eli, I'm going to be honest with you. You got to get Rudy and you got to watch it because fans are talking. It's a sports icon movie and you have to do your homework, kid.
All right.
But anyway, this week,
next week on my flight, maybe if it's on there, I'll be watching.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
2 weeks.
Well,
we'll see.
You're going to get quizzed on it. So don't say you saw it if you didn't see it.
But we'll see.
My recommendation to watch, and I think I brought it up once. If I didn't, it's an ESPN documentary called An Uncivil War. And it comes at a time where the Yankees are playing the Dodgers. And it goes back to primarily the 77 and 78 World Series, which had some of the most iconic moments in it. It just kind of paints the picture of the rivalry between the Yankees and the Dodgers, even though we haven't seen one in 43 years. It's an outstanding documentary and highly recommended. I believe it's an ESPN documentary.
Yes.
It's called An Uncivil War: The Yankees versus the Dodgers. But of course, they're playing the World Series, so I thought it was appropriate to recommend that if I hadn't done so already.
All right.
Eli,
My
so
pick
we
is
got
going to be watch a Halloween themed movie in honor of Halloween. I don't have a specific one. I'm gonna have to say watch something Halloween. That's
maybe Halloween, the movie, the original, maybe.
Yeah. All right. All right. Here's some comments real quick before we get to the photos. Nothing better than Rudy from Tom. Rusty says, good morning. Rusty Smith.
That's Rusty Smith, who I will be seeing at the Buffalo Bill game next week. And
all right.
Again, he bleeds purple. He's a diehard Ranger fan. And thanks for listening, Rusty. Appreciate it.
Which, by the way, will be at Jim will be at the Buffalo game next week, which means you have a program alert in effect. Next week we'll be live at 7:00 on Friday. 7:00 on Friday next week. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show. But let's get to some photos first.
Yes, please do. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is a picture of me and my daughter because today is her birthday. And, actually, I look pretty young there. She's pretty young there, too. But it's a great picture. I know that was at my daughter's graduation way, way back. So happy birthday, honey. And here I put this up because that's me and our sponsor, Mike Lynch. We were on a boat. This is years ago, as you could tell. I got a head the size of a pumpkin there. So I just wanted to, but this is the guy. Just look at him. You could tell he's just a wonderful person. So again, I wanted to post that up. And here's another one. This is another college friend of mine. This is Paul Lawless and his son Connor. And it's if you could see, this is like a baseball card. And I think Connor has been a special needs child, but Paul and him, he used the term, he's my wingman. So Connor, just wanted to give you a little shout out, and you, Paul, you've done a wonderful job with your son. Great picture.
All right.
And we got one more. Here it is. Look at this. There's Eli and his partner from the 12th Horseshoe podcast, Jack, at the Big East Media Day in Madison Square Garden. Eli, tell us a little bit about your day there.
So yeah, I was at Big East Media Day this past week at Madison Square Garden for the men's and women's side. Thank you to for the invite and everything else. Really appreciate it. We repped for Source Sports. We were representing everything there, and great time we had, and great job having interviews. My first time there at Madison Square Garden, but like I said this on the previous shows. The only thing that's good that stands in the Raptors at Madison Square Garden is that Billy Joel banner. Nothing else. Not the Rangers, not the Knicks. That Billy Joel banner that rings up in the rafters. That's all I could say.
You got to get your priorities straight, kid.
There is. He owns Madison Square Garden. Let's clarify that.
Okay. Referencing his residency at Madison Square Garden, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. But now we go to some notable passings, and what a great time it was at MSG.
Okay. And unfortunately, busy week for notable passings.
Yes, we have too many. We're going to have a lot.
So let's jump right in. And again, let's stick with this Dodgers-Yankees themed show for the most part. Fernando Valenzuela passed away, and he was only 63 years old. And I remember, so when we referenced, it was 43 years ago that the Dodgers and Yankees last played in the World Series. That was his rookie season. He won the Cy Young, the Rookie of the Year, and the World Series in 1981. So he was a fixture for the Dodgers, had a very unorthodox pitching style, but he had a really good career. And one of the few people, the Dodgers had a policy that they would only retire numbers of people who were actually in the Baseball Hall of Fame. they made an exception for him because he was really a polarizing figure for the Dodgers back in the early '80s. So he passed away. He was a broadcaster for them as well.
All right.
Couple other ones from the world of sports. Amir Abdur Rahim, head coach of South Florida. Very surprising, unexpected. Went in for a medical procedure and died of complications. He was only 43 years old, and he was an up and coming coach in college basketball. I believe his brother actually played in the NBA as well. So our condolences to him and his family. Like I said, 43 years old. A couple other ones. One in particular, I wanted to bring this up and Diego Cruz brought this to my attention, and then I saw it on the news anyway. John Kinsel. John Kinsel was 107 years old, and he was very pivotal in the Allies' success in World War II. He was a Navajo code talker, so all of which the Japanese could not break. So when we talk about our veterans and our servicemen and all the thanks, he deserves a shout out on this show for all he did for this country. And 107-year-old World War II veteran, may he rest in peace. And thank you for his service.
Paul Lawless checks in. Hey, Jim.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. So that was a big one. And the world of entertainment.
I got a lot more too.
One. Yeah, this was a big one for me because as you may not know, but other people do, I've always been a Grateful Dead fan. And Phil Lesh, one of the original founding members with Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir, passed away yesterday at 84. Significant enough that the Empire State Building was
green,
lit up with Grateful Dead colors in honor of Phil Lesh. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I had an opportunity to see him play not only with the Grateful Dead, but also with his own bands and stuff. And he didn't get the recognition that the other two got, but he was a pivotal figure for the Grateful Dead. World of entertainment, longtime singer in show business, Jack Jones, passed away. He was 86, and a lot of people might know him not only for all of the history and the songwriting credits that he got, but he also sung the theme song of The Love Boat. I don't know, Eli, do you watch The Love Boat?
That's right, yeah.
Well, that's
Andrew's comments 100% Eli.
Yeah. So Jack Jones was 86 years old, just a consummate pro in the music business. And also Ron Ely from he played Tarzan in the 1960s. He was 86 years old. And a funny story about playing the role of Tarzan. Back then, when Lou Gehrig played, he actually auditioned for the role of Tarzan, and his legs were so big, hence the nickname the Iron Horse, he didn't get the job. Because back then, you had to work a second job when you were a Major League Baseball player. But thought that was a funny thing. So those are my notable passings. And
you missed about 5, Jim. You missed about 5 of them, really. Okay. I don't want to throw that out there. Just want to throw the thing. Yankees pitcher Rudy May. He was 80 years old. He died this past week. He was born in 1944.
Oh my God, I didn't know that either. And I was a big Rudy May fan. Wow.
Yeah, he died the 23rd. It said it was officially released yesterday.
Oh.
Former ABC News correspondent and anchor Tom Jarrell was born in 1934. Has passed away at the age of 89. So I'm sure you may have known him, but yeah.
I don't know how I missed these. I certainly know Tom Jarrell's record. I watched him
3
for
more you
many
missed
years.
too. Seahawks media reporter for more than 40 years, Tony Ventrella, has passed away. He was born in 1944. Game show network behind the creation of the channel, producer and pioneer Richard Block has passed away at the age of 97. He was born in 1926. And finally, the Elizabeth Francis, the oldest person living in the United States, has died. She was 115 years old, born in
Yes,
1909.
I
And
did.
that
I
is it.
did know. I did know that, and I forgot to mention that. But yes, I remember her, Elizabeth Francis. Yes, I saw that
Yeah,
too.
so a lot of notes you missed, but it's all right. No worries though, Jim. That's why we have co-hosts. We split the duties.
That's right.
And that's it. By the way, program alert next week will be live on Friday at 7 o'clock instead of Saturday with another Friday show. So we hope another good week as well. So
Yeah.
join us on Friday at 7 o'clock. We hope you
And
join us then.
listen, I was delighted with the support that we got from our last Friday Night Lights show. It was really
Absolutely.
special to do that, and we're going to do that again this week. And then we may have some programming notes coming up down the road. But yeah, so please join us Friday night, and I know our loyal supporters will be joining us as well. And as always, we thank you guys for your support
Absolutely.
because without you guys, we don't have this podcast. And like I said, it's been really taken off, and Eli's been doing a great job with the production. Love the orange banner for Halloween. Very cool, very creative. But join us on Friday night. And as always, please send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com, or like our regular guys commenting on the show, like Diego, soccer,
Soccer,
no Barcelona
Barcelona.
versus Real Madrid today at 3.
All right.
Tough to compete against Notre Dame and Navy and
High
St.
school
Joe's and
football.
Bergen Catholic, but
Absolutely. But we'll throw it in there though.
we will. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Eli, you have a great week and enjoy
You
your
too,
day.
Jim.
And
Take
we'll
care,
see you
everyone.
guys next week.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.